So Ed Krawiecki, our second rower. Ed, usually we start the interviews from the rugby beginnings of the players, but conversation with you, I'd like to start from your Polish heritage, your roots, and pretty powerful story that you told to the players before the Germany game. Can you briefly tell us the story of your grandparents?
Yeah, of course. It feels pretty cool. I guess like everybody has a story, but it was good to share with the other guys mine. So in terms of my Polish heritage, my grandparents were both Polish, but how they arrived in the UK was pretty unique, I think. On my grandfather's father, so my great-grandfather, was Alexander Krawiecki. He fought the Russians the Soviets, the Russians in 1920 and was awarded the Virtuti Militari, which was pretty cool. From there, he left the army and joined the police in Warsaw, but decided it was too dangerous. So he left the police in Warsaw and went to join the army again and ended up on the eastern border with the Soviets. When the Soviets invaded in the Second World War, he was arrested and recognised from the 1920 war and sent for a show trial in St. Petersburg. At the same time, his wife, so my great-grandmother, and his son, my grandfather, they were arrested and sent to the labour camps in Siberia. They were all held in prison, held in captivity until the Germans invaded the Soviet Union. Then they were released, so they managed to reunite and made their way to Palestine and joined the Polish Free Army. Carried on fighting there and then eventually made their way over to Edinburgh in the UK. My great-grandfather, I believe, couldn't go back to Soviet-controlled Poland, so I went to Edinburgh and then down to Manchester, which is where my father was born. And then on the other side, my father's mother, her father, was Boleslav Kozłowski. He fought in the defence of Modlin in 1920, and then from there played quite a key role in what I believe quite a key role in the Polish underground. He was the head of counterintelligence of the Warsaw Uprising at one point, which led him to be arrested twice by the Nazis. He was sent to Pawiak twice, and then from there the second time sent to Gross-Rosen concentration camp. I believe he tried to escape but failed, but he survived. And then from there again, I think because he was a known character after the war, went to the UK, couldn't come back to Poland and settled in Manchester, which is where my grandfather and my grandmother met, and then stayed in the UK ever since. So a bit of a longer story, but quite cool that we still know their story as well, I think.
Yeah, it was just also one of your reasons why you are here and you are in playing in a Polish national team. Yeah. How this heritage was important in your family? Have you been raised and growing up knowing this story, or it came in some moment? Yeah,
I mean, that's why playing for the national team has been so good. We were very much raised as English. We went to English schools and we spoke English. I don't speak any Polish. I knew my Polish grandfather, so I was always aware of the history, but when you're young, you don't really ask the questions that you wish you could when they're no longer with you. So, we were very much raised as English, but that's why coming back and playing for Poland has been so special and so powerful, because it's allowed me to really reconnect with those stories and find out more about my family history and ask the questions that I hadn't asked before.
Yeah, and you, as you said, you've been raised as a English young guy, and being raised there and doing some sport is usually you have to choose between football and rugby. How did it started for you that you chose rugby?
I did both when I was younger. I did both play football and rugby, and I think naturally had more talent for rugby. So started when I was 6. My dad was a rugby player over in England, so he was, I think, always keen to be down at the rugby club, and he was a rugby coach, so that helped. And through this process, found out that my grandfather also played rugby at school in Poland back when he was in Poland. He had a couple of games, so I think rugby was in the blood. It was always going to be rugby.
And did you have a dream to play like on the top level to get to this like the professional stage of rugby?
Yeah, I think everyone always, when you play in any sport when you're young, you always dream of playing at that very top level, and you get to a point where you realise that it's probably not going to happen, but then chances like this come up and you get to have another go and take those opportunities. But it's still hasn't really sunk in that I'm playing for Poland, and this week having a go at being captain along with Dav. So it's all I think one day it will maybe sink in. I'll watch these videos back and be able to watch them back, and it will all sink in and realise how incredible it is. But I'm not quite there yet.
Yeah. So how did it started that you started to play for Poland?
Yeah, so I was playing at a good level back in the UK at level 4, so in the national leagues. And at that level, the squads all get published in a rugby newspaper. So the scout over in England, Adam, had obviously gone through the team sheets and looked out for Polish surnames. I got a message through on Facebook that said, I'm scouting for Poland, are you qualified to play and are you any good? And at first I thought it was a joke. I wasn't sure whether it was one of the guys from the team messing around with me, but yeah, I had a few more conversations and sent some of my best clips over, showed myself in a good light. And then from there, the coach at the time, Dwayne Lindsay, came over to watch me play and got invited into camp from there. And
then from that moment, we came to the moment when you became the captain.
Yeah.
So it's probably, it's like you said, it's something fantastic. But starting from the point when you were on the first camp with Polish national team to this point now when you are the captain for the coming game, how does it change for you? How did it change for you, and how do you feel? And what does it mean to you to be the part of this team?
Yeah, I think it felt like we've been building since then. Obviously, Chris has come in and done a great job as a new coach and made things feel much more professional and organised and structured. But even that season before with Dwayne, I think the group of players that we've got together felt like we could do something really special. There was a real strong team spirit. So we went away to Switzerland and won, and we were like, we were all right at this, and then we went to Amsterdam and only just lost to the Netherlands, but put in a hell of a performance. I think from there we've managed to carry the best bits out of those performances through the team spirit and the defence and working for each other, and then put that into the structure and the play that we've brought this year, and I think it's been working well so far.
But still, playing for national team, for Polish national team, it's not maybe easy for you because you are still like most of the players here, amateur player, and you have your own work.
Yeah.
So is it hard to like combine your work, your life in Britain and playing for Poland?
Yeah, it takes sacrifices. Luckily, my boss at work has been really understanding. He's been fantastic. So whenever I've needed time off to come to camp, he's made sure that as best as he can that I've been able to do that, which has been really good. And then the family and the fiance have been really supportive, which helps when you've got people behind you willing to help you out and give you lifts and help you pack your bag and make sure everything's sorted. So definitely a team effort. But yeah, the fact that the boss at work has been so understanding has allowed it all to happen, really.
I know that when you have in your CV that you are a rugby player in Britain, it's really well seen because they know that you are a team player. So how does the values of rugby helps you in your work?
Yeah, definitely. I think the biggest thing, I've been thinking about this a little bit, is that with rugby, what you do now doesn't have an immediate reward. The training that you do in pre-season doesn't mean anything until you play the first game, and the tactics that you work on at the start of the season don't pay off until the end of the season. So I think the idea of having to work for something now that the rewards come a lot later, I think is a big lesson. And then just like with any team and coming over and training and playing with the guys over here, that ability to communicate with people and get on with people. And we're not all best mates. No one in any team is ever going to be best mates. But being able to work together towards one goal, I think that's a really cool skill. I think that's what rugby's all about. And it means that you can walk into any rugby club or any pub in the country and find someone who likes to talk, probably the world actually, who likes to talk about rugby, and you can sit down and have a pint and straight away you've got a friend, I think.
I've heard from the guys from the team as well that you are investing a bit. So being friends in the team, do you help them also? You give them some advice about investing?
We have chats. Definitely wouldn't say I give them advice. No way near qualified enough to be giving them advice. But investing is another one of my passions. I find it really interesting, and if you can make some money, even better. But I do think being open and talking about investing and finances is something that we should probably do more of. I think when it's all behind closed doors, no one ever goes anywhere. But I think a few of the guys have started having a little look and a little bit of a learn on the back of it, which is pretty cool.
Are you successful in?
Yeah, doing all right. I've made money, which is good. At one point back last year, it was a lot more money than I have now, but still in the green.
And while you're talking now and telling us about the team and about the atmosphere, it seems that this atmosphere is really good at the moment. can you just tell us a few words? How does it change, or what changed after Chris joined and took over the team? What is the atmosphere since July 2021?
Yeah, I think we've got a really clear set of objectives that we want to work towards, and Chris makes it quite clear that if you don't buy into those objectives, then this isn't the environment for you. But what that means that everybody who is in this environment are really driven towards those same objectives, which means that, like I said, even if not everyone in the team is going to be best mates, but when you're all working towards one point and you've got a goal to aim towards, that makes it a lot easier. I think the fact that we've been able to have bigger squads has meant there's been some real competition for places, which I think has pushed everybody on. The couple of games I played before, you could probably know who the starting team was from the start of the week, and that would be it for the whole training camp. But having those bigger camps with people coming in and pushing on and bringing their ideas, I think it's driven us all. And the fact that we're winning, all those bits mean that we're successful on the pitch, and it's much easier to have a good environment when the results are going right. So hopefully that continues.
Yeah, I talked to some guys from the team. They told me that, like I asked them, what do you think about Ed? And they all said that you are a very calm guy, helpful guy, hearty guy. So the question is about this sport aggression in you. Yeah. Is it only on the field, or?
Yeah, pretty much. A pretty competitive guy, so training or playing. But I think that's probably one of the benefits of rugby to me, is that you can get all your aggression out for 80 minutes on the weekend, and then you have nothing else to prove for the rest of the week. But I'm quite conscious around camp as well that, like, these camps are tough. We work hard, and late nights, early mornings, lots of training. It would be easy to get into a bit of a negative spiral as a team and getting on at each other, because we are competing for spots. That, as much as we're working together, everyone has their own interests as well. So I think, let you do your talking out on the pitch when we're training and playing against each other. There's no point having anything to prove for the rest of the time. May as well be nice and happy.
The guys also told me that you are a pretty good snorer. Is it true?
I can't comment. I've never experienced it. But I think there's a bit of a short straw if you end up sharing a room with me, I think. Okay. With a nose like this, anyway.
And being in a team since Chris took it over, you said already that he gave you the clear direction. Where are you going? Can you share us these thoughts? Like, what is this direction, and what do you want to achieve as a team from the point of July 2021 and up to now?
Yeah. Initially Chris was very much about improving game on game, and to be fair, it was Piotr who stood up and said he's done with messing around. He wants to win the league. He wants to get promoted. And to start with, I was a little bit taken aback. I was a bit like, whoa, well, like that's pretty lofty ambition. But he's driven that, and it seems to be working. So where we are in this season now, having won 3 from 3 with 2 games to go, I think promotion is the goal. We need to win these last 2 games and win them well and get promoted. And not that it's not taking that for granted. They're going to be tough. Two really good teams. Belgium, we don't know yet, but from their previous history and the players they've got, you have to imagine that it's going to be the toughest game yet. And Lithuania can't be underestimated either. I mean, they beat Ukraine. Beat Switzerland. Only just lost to Ukraine. Like, they've got some pretty special players. So neither can be taken for granted. But we're pretty determined. Promotion's the goal, I think.
And theoretically, if you get to championship, how far can you get? What do you think can achieve there in playing against Georgia, Russia, Spain, or Romania?
Yeah, I mean, who knows? It's obviously a massive step up. I know Netherlands have been promoted this year and they've found it really tough. But the only way you get to be at that level is by competing at that level, and you play and you learn the lessons, and you figure out what you need to do better to be competing against those teams. But until you're playing against them, I think it's very hard to get to that level. You end up lifting yourself up to that level. So, yeah, I mean, definitely be an enormous challenge. And personally and as a team, there'll be loads of things that we want to improve on. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it and win the next 2 first.
Yeah, because there are some voices, especially in Polish stage, that our team is playing very good now, but very well, but is not ready to play against those guys up there in the championship. So what would you tell them?
I don't think you can ever be ready without having a go and going and playing it. I think You look at any team that's progressed through leagues over the years, very rarely do you go up and be really successful in the league that you get promoted to. You have to play and learn and develop. And hopefully being on that bigger stage, it attracts more interest in Polish rugby. We're playing against bigger teams in a bigger tournament, maybe more funding, maybe more awareness and more fans, more sponsorship. And then Polish rugby can really develop. But if we said we just want to stay at this level until we're good enough, chances are that never really happens. You have to push yourself if you want to achieve something special. And maybe we struggle, maybe we get found out, maybe we don't, but you don't know unless you give it a good go. And I think this team's the team to give it a good go.
And for you personally, what would be your dream, your aim in your rugby career? Both like playing for your club, but mostly for the national team. What would be like this?
Yeah, I mean, like they just keep happening. Like making my debut for the national team was more than I ever could have expected. Then playing against Germany and beating Germany in Poland in the full stadium in Gdynia was more than I could ever have expected. And then this week being named captain with Dave was more than I ever could have expected. So I would never have even dreamed that this would have happened. It has all been incredibly surreal. So who knows what comes next? I think playing in the short term, definitely playing in that league above and competing with those countries that's the next big focus, one step ahead. Further down the line, when I'm 50 years old, if I see Poland playing in a World Cup one day, playing against England at Twickenham or playing against the All Blacks in Dunedin, that would be pretty special, knowing that he had played a bit of a part in that. But yeah, one step at a time.
So yeah, that's the thing we wish you the most, to get to this moment. Yeah. Maybe we'll meet on the stadium that time. I hope so.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the interview today.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.